Hi everyone, it's Margaret with Creative Stamping with Margaret. I'm here with one of our projects from this month's card classes. And the classes this month all focused on the Regency Park Suite collection, and that product can be seen in the mini catalog, and that's on pages 30 and 31. This card is a little bit different from the other cards in the class in that I did pull in some additional products. So I'm also using the Framed Florets, and I've used that for the die cutting of the frame and for the sentiment that I used on the front and on the inside. So I'm calling this card our Framed Floral card. Obviously there's a lot of flowers on there, so we've got the florals covered. But this paper is the Regency Park Designer Series paper, and you'll notice on all of the cards where the paper has been used, it is just gorgeous paper. I just really like all the different prints in the paper. It offers a lot for you to do. And then the flowers, the little cluster of flowers, they are from the Sentimental Park Bundle. It's a 2-stage stamping stamp in that you can just do the outline, but then if you want to fill them, as I have done here, you would use the second stamp to stamp the interior of those flowers. And then with the bundle, the dies, the Sentimental Park dies, has a little cluster that cuts those. And because of the flower cluster of flowers, that's why I wanted to use the Framed Florets. I just thought it would be beautiful to place a cluster of those flowers around that frame. So let's get started. And as always, in the description of this video, I place the list of materials that we've used and the dimensions, so you don't need to worry about writing those down. If you ordered a kit to go from me, I just want to point out that in your kit, the frames have been die cut for you, but the floral clusters have not been die cut. In the kits, I always try to include all the die cuts that I can, but because of the stamping of these clusters of flowers, I thought it best just to send you the basic white cardstock so that you could stamp the clusters and cut them yourself. If you did not purchase this bundle, then you can just substitute it with any other flowers that you have that would coordinate with this set. And it really doesn't even have to coordinate. There's so many different flowers that I think any floral set you have may cover that. So the materials, as I mentioned, they'll be in the description of this video, plus they will be posted on my blog in a future date, so that you can always go there to refer to it as well. And if you are interested in getting my kits to go, which are I always offer the kits to go that I offer in my monthly class. And so you can order a kit and receive all of the materials pre-cut for you, and then all you have to do is just follow along and put your cards together. And I do try to focus on one particular bundle. So we have our Mango Melody card base, and then I just want to point out that if you did receive a kit in the mail from me, you may or may not have the same designer series paper. And so, as in this case, the one that I'm using for this video, I have selected a different pattern. therefore, I've selected a different color to use as my layering piece on the card, where here I use Night of Navy, here I'm using Balmy Blue. I have my Regency Park Designer Series paper. I have my interior, oops, that's not the interior, here's the interior panel. This is the panel for the interior. Then you have a little bit smaller piece. Now, as I said, if you ordered the kit, this will already be cut for you, but you will need another piece of basic white, and that's to cut the interior piece for the frame. Then we have our piece to cut the outer frame, and then you'll have a piece of need a piece of basic white for your stamping of the flower clusters. The ink colors we're using are Balmy Blue and Night of Navy. The stamp sets that we are using, or the stamps, we're using the flowers, as I mentioned earlier, the cluster out of that stamp set, and then our sentiment, which comes from the Framed Florets. So let's move a few things out of the way and start assembling this card. So the first thing I always like to do is get my base piece done. So we're going to fold our card base and use our bone folder along that score line so that we get a nice, very nice, crisp fold. We're going to add our 2 layering pieces. So first let's add the Balmy Blue or Navy, Night of Navy, if that's what you received. And this just gives us a very small border. My mind went blank. I could not think of the word for some reason. Have you ever had that happen to you, where you'll be in the middle of a thought and all of a sudden you just lose it? Unfortunately, that seems to be happening too much to me. Not really, but it does happen on occasion. I have so many things going through my mind sometimes. It's just crazy. Now we add, and see, that's gorgeous just like that. You could stick a sentiment on there, stamp a panel, and put it a little ribbon embellishment, and you're ready to go. So we can set those 2 pieces to the side. And now for our frame pieces. The 2 pieces that you need from the Framed Florets, you need, let's call that Cinderella's Mirror die. That's what that reminds me of, sort of a Victorian or a Cinderella die. But you will place that on your paper, send that through your die cutting machine. On the Mango Melody, you will place just the oval, run that through your die cutting machine, and this is what you will get after you cut those. You're going to come out with your frame, which save that, use that on another card, because all you need is this center oval. And you could use this. I know some of the ladies in the in-person card class, they decided to add this to their interior panel and frame their sentiment there, which I thought was a nifty way to use that. And then you're going to have these 2 pieces when you do the Mango Melody when you die cut that. So then you have your frame. Those are the only two pieces that you're going to need to keep. And there again, this piece, you could also use that on another piece as well as that. So don't throw those away. Those are additional pieces you can use on your card. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp the sentiment. Now on my sample card I use "for a special person on a special day" and then "wishes for a beautiful birthday." For the front of this card I'm just going to use the "wishes for a beautiful birthday" and put a different sentiment on the inside at a later date. Oh, I got a little spot there. I'm going to have to cover that with a rhinestone later. I did a little bit of a rock, I think. I had a little bit of ink on there, but that's okay. There's always a way to cover it, isn't there? We get creative. And now we'll just add some adhesive along the frame. We'll lay that on there. And as you see, that goes off to the side some, but that's okay because that lines up. Doesn't line up perfectly on the back, but that frame is that's all you need to do. I think I have that. Whoops. Line that up there. That's a little bit better. So we'll set that to the side and let that dry as we're doing the flowers that we're going to need. So for doing our cluster of flowers, you need to pull in your scrap piece of basic white. You need your Balmy blue ink, and you're going to need the outline portion as well as the interior portion of the flower cluster, the cluster of flowers. And as you notice, on my block I have stamp off, so we will be stamping off on that. You don't have to, but I just thought when I initially started doing the cards that it looked better stamped off than having a full strength on the inside of the flower. So we need to stamp 3 of these flower clusters on that piece of paper for die cutting. But while you have this, go ahead and stamp on your interior card panel. Embellish it. I'm going to do up in the corner. I'm going to do opposite corners on the card. You could also do your envelope as I did. So I'm going to pull in an envelope while I have all the ink out. May as well do it all at one time. So now we're going to stamp off. So we're going to ink up, stamp off, line these up. So the nice thing about this photopolymer, you can see right through that, see exactly where that needs to line up. See how nicely that comes out? See, if you wanted, you could leave those just as white flowers. You don't have to do the interior stamping, but I just really thought it added a little extra touch to the look of the card front. And lastly, I will do the envelope. I was going to leave that white, those flowers white, but I think I want to, I just botched that one. Go ahead and do it on the front as well. I'll be consistent with my flowers. That is it for the stamping. So next, we will take our die that coordinates. So you just line that up, put that on your cut and emboss machine or whatever die cutting machine you have. Run that through, so you'll want to cut all three of those so that you have the 3 pieces. So we'll pull this back in, and now we're ready to add the panel to the front of the card, and I am keeping the panel flat and centering it on the card. Let me reach up here and get some stamping dimensionals. I used all of them earlier, so and I forgot to pull them out before I got started, so I've just pulled some down, and I'm using the small dimensionals for this. Obviously you could use the large as well, but what we want to do is to frame our sentiment now. And I put one up at the top. And then we'll place 2 down along the bottom. And I overlapped one over the other. I just thought that it laid a little bit better that way. So let's get our, there's a little adhesive there, I could feel it sticking on the card, the back. That frames that nicely. And since we're going to overlap this one here, I don't need to put a dimensional there. I will come back and put a mini glue dot on that section to hold that. Let me go ahead and do that so I don't forget. And then it's optional, but I did add a small bow that using the crinkled white ribbon. And I'm not sure with this sentiment that I need that. So I'm going to leave the bow off of this, but that is an option for you. If you ordered the kit to go, you will have received ribbon in your kit for you to add to the front. But if you just, like myself, if you change that sentiment, you definitely want to take a look and determine if you really need it. And now we're just going to embellish with some rhinestones, basic rhinestones, and I'm going to cover that little piece up where I had just a touch of the ink blob. And we'll just place this one over here. We'll make our triangle. And I like to use 3, 5, 7. It's the rule of odds. They always seem to, there's a philosophy behind that. But it doesn't always work. But I would say 95% of the time the rule of odds does work. But sometimes just 2 or 4 seem to work as well. And then of course we'll put the panel on the inside, and you can add your sentiment to that. But that is it for our framed floral card. I hope that you've enjoyed watching the assembly of this card, and that you've learned some tips along the way. And if you have any questions, just visit my blog, put a comment down in the comment sections of this video, and I can answer the question there, or you can find my email address on my blog. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would appreciate that, and I do appreciate any comments or likes that I get on the videos. And join me for some more fun crafting creative ideas. And if you would like to order a kit to go, just send me an email or go to my blog and register for my newsletter, because all the details are in my newsletter each month that highlights how you can order one of these kits each month. So have a great rest of your day, and thanks for spending the past 20 minutes or so with me.